Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me here today. I am very happy that you are here. I'm going to be creating a scrapbook layout today. It is a 3 photo layout that has 3 6x4 photos on it. Because it's got 3 photos, there's not a lot of room for embellishments, so I have used the pattern paper as the embellishments, and the only other thing that's on the layout is the title of the page. I've had a hunt through my stash and I've dug out some papers. I'm going to be using 7 Dot Studio Domestic Goddess 12th teacup, one from Prima Marketing's Indeed collection called Fairy Garden, and the other one is also a Prima paper from their Sunrise Sunset collection that's called Corona. I am going to use also some plain orange, and that is a Kazaz paper called Apricot. I'm going to use this orange pattern paper for my background. I took it out of a paper pad some time ago and I haven't kept the cover, so I don't know what make it is or anything like that. I'm trimming this down to 12 inches by 12 inches. The next piece of paper I'm going to use is the Domestic Goddess paper by 7 Dot Studio. This particular one is called 12 Teacup, and I'm going to cut that so that it's 8 3/4 by 9.5 inches. The next paper I'm going to cut is a Prima Marketing paper. It's called Indeed Collection and the paper is called Fairy Garden. I'm going to cut this paper so that it's 6.5 inches deep by 10.5 inches wide. I'm going to lay these papers down together and see how I think I might lay them out. I decide to cut one more piece of paper, and for that I'm going to use the Prima Marketing Sunrise Sunset collection, and this paper is called Corona. I'm going to cut a strip that is 1.5 inches deep by 12 inches wide, and that's going to run along the bottom of those other pattern papers. Now this is where I decided that I wanted to back everything with the orange paper, so using the Kazaz Apricot plain cardstock, I will cut mats for all of those pattern papers. First of all, I'm going to cut this piece down to 11.5 by 11.5 so that I will be able to see the orange plain cardstock behind it when I attach it to the orange cardstock. I use my trimmer to cut the centre out of this first sheet of orange cardstock. I leave a 1 inch frame so that the 11.5 inch by 11.5 inch pattern paper can be attached to that. The mat for the lighter paper is 9 inches by 9 3/4 inches. The mat for the purple piece of cardstock is 6 3/4 inches by 10 3/4 inches. And the last piece is 1 3/4 inches by 12 inches. I then go ahead and cut 3 mats for my photo. My photos are all a standard 6x4, so I cut my photo mats 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. To add some definition to my photos, I use a file, emery board, and file around the edge of the photo. This gives it a white border. I usually do it on the edge of my desk. I don't usually do it on a cutting mat like this. It's much easier on the side of the desk. My next job is to ink around the edge of all of my papers. I don't ink around the photos, but I use a black Kaisercraft mini cube to ink around all of the papers and the mats. There's no need for you to watch me do all that, so I will do this one and then I will be back to join you again when I have finished. Now that I've finished inking everything, I'm going to start sticking everything together. I'm going to use this tape runner and I'm just going to layer all of my pattern papers on top of the mats, and then I'm going to place them on my layout. I did contemplate using this yellow side of this paper, but I felt that the whiter paper gave the layout a bit of a lift because there is a lot of orange and yellow on this page. I have to apologise for the volume on this video. I got a new computer yesterday and I have just realised that I haven't set up the microphone, so it's going to be very quiet. You will have to turn your volume up for this particular video, but I will rectify that as soon as I can. I'm going to try turning up the volume on the microphone, just on the microphone without going into the settings, so that might be helpful. New technology is always a bit of a challenge for me, but hopefully we've got it all going now. These photos were taken in Adelaide at what they call the Northern Lights. So these buildings are on North Terrace, which is one street parallel with our main shopping centre. And they project all these images onto the buildings that are along here. So we're looking at the library, the State Library, the museum and uni, I think the other one is. They do this each year as part of the Fringe Festival. It's actually very early on in the Fringe Festival, and whether it's actually a part of it or not, I'm not too sure. But anyway, it's at that same time. So, yeah, always something different happening there. Multi-photo layouts are always a bit of a challenge. I think that the more photos you put on there, of course, the less chance you've got of embellishing anything. So it requires a bit of restraint, I think, when you're doing multi-photo layouts. I don't mind doing them, but I don't mind a plain layout. I'm moving my photos and papers around here, just trying to decide where I want to place everything. And now that I've decided where I think they should be, I start to glue them down. I use my T-ruler to line things up. I find it very helpful for getting pages straight, for getting papers straight, for getting titles straight. I bought that some time ago after I saw it on YouTube one time. I thought what a great idea it was. and they're really not very expensive at all. I think it was only about $3 or $4, so money well spent in my opinion. This is where my second tape runner ran out, so I'm going to use double-sided tape to finish off attaching my items. I used my scan and cut to cut my title, which says Northern Lights, and now I'm going to use glue to attach that to my layout along the bottom. I've now attached my title, and I'm going to cover the title with this glossy accents. I figured that seeing as how it was Northern Lights, a bit of gloss or light on the title would be a good thing. So I'm going to cover the whole title with this glossy accents. Because I've got 3 photos on this layout, I didn't think that there was really room enough for any other embellishments, so I'm going to actually call this layout finished now. There is no room, in my opinion, to put anything else on this, and I think with the colour and the busyness of the photos, anything else that would be put on there would be too much. So that finishes my layout today. I hope you've enjoyed watching my video. If you have, please click the subscribe button and click the bell next to the subscribe button, and you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. If you would like to share my video with your friends, that would be fantastic. And thank you for spending your time here with me today. I look forward to seeing you next week with my next video. Thank you.